Christopher Linton was released from prison, I think, in April of this year, having spent 8 years there. He was released on appeal, having won his appeal in the court. He had been arrested for crimes, including shooting at a police officer. He and another man, and they won on appeal on the grounds that identification was next to impossible in the darkness. And in fact, shortly after his release, he was shot by hoodlums in St. Thomas, and the police believe he has been behind so many murders since his release in April. And so they caught up with him on one day this week, I think it was Tuesday or so this week. And in fact, it happened that he was traveling in a car with a woman. And as the police ordered the car to stop, having received information that wanted men were aboard the car, the woman came out. He soon alighted, and the police reported that he fired on them. They returned the fire, and he was hit fatally. And in fact, that has triggered what the police are now calling an alert, because they believe that there will be some reprisal for this reputed gangster who fired on them and who led a very lucrative criminal operation that was involved in extortion and murders and contract killings and the works. So the police are somewhat relieved that they have got him out of the picture, but in fact are on alert for potential reprisals within the circles around the University of the West Indies. That's a community called August Stone and Tavern and so on.
Well.
Stories, unfortunately, never seem to leave the headlines. Does Jamaican society, you find, Damien, does it get numb to these stories where, you know, it just becomes par for the course? Or you think...
I think it's a mixture of a couple of things, Darren, and I think too many people don't care. I always say too few people care. And we're at the point where we believe that we essentially are immune from violence, but we're at a very critical point because we're now seeing where there is a 10% increase in murders. We have to understand that the fact that there's a 10% increase in murders means that we are now more likely to be affected by this scourge. And as much as the others will tell you that those who become the victims of violence are those who are somewhat connected to the violence producers, or when, as in Jamaica we say, when Quaco can't catch them, when you can't catch Quaco, you catch him short. It puts you all at risk. Mm-hmm. And the issue of crime doesn't only reside with violent crimes like murders. The issue of crime also extends to what's happening now with perceived corruption in government. I mean, just this week, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education was sent on leave as a major investigation was launched into the unaccountability of $124 million from the Ministry of Education. Let me repeat that. $124 million unaccounted for at the Ministry of Education. So the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, the police and the Financial Investigation Division, are now probing that. The permanent secretary, the acting permanent secretary, sent on leave. And it all surrounds an entity called the Jamaica Committee on Tertiary Education, which in fact is provided for under law and was operating under the Ministry of Education. And as a consequence of that, had to take out what's called a government tax registration number to do business with the Ministry of Education, under which it was operating and is provided for by law. But as it turned out, the proprietor, or probably I should say the director of this government committee, later on converted the government committee to a private company and was using a government TRN to collect money as a private company. And when it came up, in fact, it was a Gleaner story that had exposed the connection that this private entity was also establishing another private entity. When it turned out that the ministry was informed that, hey, you are paying someone here, we need to find out what's going on. The company was saying, no. You can't get our books. We are a private entity. Surprise, surprise. Nobody knew that the company had been transformed from a public entity to a private entity. And as a consequence, the permanent secretary said she wrote to the entity saying, listen, we can't pay you anymore. We can't have any business with you because you're now a private entity. Surprise, surprise, even after that letter, they received about $11 million more. And so now the Auditor General has recommended that the police should get involved. The police are involved, the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency involved, and the Financial Investigation Division is involved. And this is just the top of what has been a river of corruption. I don't know. It seems to be an aspiration these days, but I can't explain.
As we say here, what can go so? No, really can go so. I mean, I'm listening to you and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, no, it's fast.
And what I find most dismal is the explanations. You know, so for example, I don't know, boy. I've heard the attempt at explanations by the permanent secretary or the acting permanent secretary that she was awaiting a legal opinion. And I'm saying this is just so clear cut. How do you explain the fact that this entity, which really should have been a government entity provided under law, under the Ministry of Education, converted itself from a government entity to a limited company? How does that happen? And how do you now become aware that this man has this entity has converted itself from a government entity to a private entity, and you still sign for payments after that happened? I mean, it is boggling to everyone.
Yeah,
boggling.
Is this not? There has to be a conspiracy, though, Damien, because lawyers had to have been involved. Isn't there like a registrar of companies that has to sign off on company registrations or intellectual property, like here in Antigua? I mean, it's not just one person just does it by themselves. It has to be a conspiracy, no?
It could be a matter of conspiracy, or it could also be a matter of people just not doing their jobs.
Yeah, lack of oversight.
Yeah, but I can tell you it's something. And I'm thinking it's corruption.
Yeah. Well, it is corruption. The question is how many people are in on the take.
So we're very anxious about this investigation. What we can tell you is that the FID and the MOCA, their reputation is way through the roof. So they operate on a very high level and they generally get convictions. They investigate very thoroughly. They're very well resourced. And both are independent of, well, in fact, MOCA is very independent of the state, and it's an independent investigative body. And we expect that MOCA will dig straight to the bottom of this and will report and make prosecutions if it deems that there is evidence to support it.
Right. Here's a question. Has there been a determination made on who the shareholders are of this new quote-unquote?
We have not been able to get that. What we do know is that the director of the previous JCTE is also a part of this new private establishment, the JCTE Limited. I see the smirk there.
Yeah, just because it's just unbelievable, quite frankly. And we knock, I don't know about St. Kitts, but it is said here, that certain things, Antigua is not a real country, and especially when you're in opposition, you criticize what goes on and think Antigua is the only place in the world where certain things happen. But this one here boggles the mind. I don't think I've heard of a scheme like this, of this nature, that seemingly should never have happened. And I don't want to think that could happen in Antigua.
That is hilarious.
What you say?
Jadis here just totally in all she can do is laugh hysterically.
Because what?
Jade, it happens here. It happens here. And to console you, Darren, there's a hashtag you should look up. The hashtag is Jamaica is not a real place. And those who comment on it will say, on the next episode of Jamaica is not a real place.
Wow.
Yeah, y'all really do take the book, take the cake when it comes to these type of things, because what?
You never disappoint. Sorry, Jade, I cut across you. I'm sorry. I'm very honest this morning. Sorry. cut across the lady.
Oh, boy.
Jade, go ahead. I think you're
No,
a little
I'm
too
just
late. That's why I
still
didn't
laughing because
realize
I'm
it.
trying to wrap my head around how you just take a part of this and just privatize it and nobody knows what's happening. Like,
It's just
Jade, we're in this thing together.
Yeah.
that's
we
mind.
end as we began.
That is mind-boggling.
To me, they gutsy take to do that. They're kind of different. You got to have like real moxie.
or probably you don't need gut at all.
Indeed.
And that's not even a little bit of money. That's like a whole. That is millions of money.
That's the thing.
Dollars that you have just unaccounted for, and now you have to figure out where it went to.
No, but my thing is, even after you figure it out, the payment's still going.
Well, the Auditor General has said that the principal officers in the ministry should pay back the money. Let's see how that goes.
Oh, boy. Whoa.
Oh, well.
Okay.
They're going to figure it out.
Folks, I have two very special entertainers waiting on me on the outside for the entertainment segment. So as much as I'm having, I know this sounds twisted, as much as I'm having fun listening to this, or it certainly is interesting to listen to. And Damien, you never disappoint. And this one, I think you outdid yourself with this one. This one,
definitely did.
I didn't see this one coming at all.
I'm sorry, I'm just the reporter. I'm not a part of the cast.
Damien, thank you very much. Again, sorry to hear about your loss, and
yes.
Condolences to those who who mourn and who are going to continue to mourn. It's not easy to lose someone.
Yes, and to you and to Jade too.
Thank you.
My heartfelt
Thank you,
sympathies.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
So,
all the best.
I gotta go. Thanks, Jade, Azem, Kevin, the quiet one. He's quiet except when our friend Rhoda is on from Trinidad.
That's his time to shine.
Yes, indeed.
With purpose.
Yes, Damien, he has a little girlfriend in Lord, I'm going to get in trouble. He has
No, it's okay. It's just between the four of us.
Yes, it's just between
And all of the listeners and viewers.
All right, have a good weekend, everybody. It's a Bond weekend for me. I'm looking forward to seeing the latest installment of 007.
Yes.
Enjoy. I heard it's amazing.
I heard it's pretty good, so there we are. Take care.
Right,
have a good one.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well.
What a time.
What a time to be alive.
I love the Caribbean, you know. Because
we don't have a choice.
let me tell y'all something, right? You got certain things that are here and certain scams and so that come up. And I honestly be thinking, like, but why I ain't come up with that? This is one of them.
Me.
Like, I don't know if I would have been creative enough to be like, hey guys, know what we do?
That's all.
We can just take this. Let me just privatize our office. I mean, private. Yeah, let's register it as your own private company.
Yeah, I mean, something small.
They don't even. They don't. Yeah, they don't tell us not. They don't. We running things anyway. So if we're running things, why the man gonna be able to tell us what to do and what not to do?
Exactly. Let's just do that and take the money and do whatever we want with it.
No, maybe they were doing what they were supposed to do with it.
Really?
But you see, the thing for me, right, is that it's not so much that I have an issue with the way with that procedure, meaning ministries working along with private entities, right? Because that happens all the time.
Yes, indeed.
They call it like, don't bother talk about consultants. The amount of consultants. I will want to be a consultant. Somebody bring me company in your ministry to be a consultant. I ain't playing. Like, check me.
I think you could do it.
No, like I need to be doing it. Like, like me playing. Like seriously, I put it out there. But so I'm a problem with that. But when you take like this office and just go, you register it with the government as a private. Like wow.
Y'all different. Not gonna lie. No. Y'all are different beings.
Yeah, just register in a company, that's all.
I mean, small thing. What can go wrong? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but at the same time, especially if they were delivering on whatever it is they were asked to do, because you realize at no point that's come up in the conversation. Eh? It's not it's not to say they weren't delivering on the work, right? It's just bye. You Yeah, the man say all I work in the ministries who got pay back the money. Them they don't get paid and do them thing.
The money done gone. For what? The money
So my
done
thing
gone.
would be like you say your sal like so they still are getting a salary as a government employee?
Well, why wouldn't they?
I just own this company, but I'm also
employed by the company.
Oh, this was actually supposed to be mid-year yesterday, you know.
What?
All these companies that outlaw and entities that outlaw what they call moonlighting, I gotta stop it.
You mean the companies that tell people that they can't work?
Somebody
can't have a second job?
Somebody from tourism, please call me and tell me if it's true that the taxi man them are being told that they can't have any other job.
Oh.
Somebody call and
I never understood this, you know.
You could get a big Jeep and thing, 'cause you got a big nice salary. I can't get the same salary you have. I don't have the same position and responsibilities you have.
So why would you want the same salary?
But no, I want a certain standard of living and decide to work and you can tell me no, I can't do that?
Yes.
In these times. And the problem
I don't understand what's the issue with moonlighting.
But the problem I have, right, Kevin, is that in none of these instances, salaries does rise with inflation.
Why would it?
But that's my thing. So number one, I don't see an issue with moonlighting,
Right.
especially if the job does not interfere with the other job. Like it's one thing if you leave in one job early to get to another job. That's